If you're not careful, perfectly good video games can get completely ruined by bad 3D models. Kind of like how a peaceful neighborhood can get completely ruined by black people. Now that I'm demonetized, welcome to Yandere Simulator, a game that released about 10 years ago, and although many people were excited about its release at the time, it got a lot of backlash because apparently the quality of the game was really bad, and people were lagging all the time, and it was racist. Somehow, in spite of its quality, it actually got really popular. And as it turns out, Yandere Simulator was basically designed as a dating role-playing game for single people trying to experience human emotion. So with that being said, nearly 100% of the population had an interest in the game. What I didn't understand was how a game with such a high level of interest was still getting critiques for its quality. I mean, come on, it has a lot of players, the niche is pretty appealing to people. Surely the quality couldn't be that bad. The 3D models in this game would give a Victorian child secondhand autism. Although what was really funny is I found out after editing this video that the main developer was actually high on crack while making the 3D models. Like, seriously. See, that was a joke. But you actually believed me for a second, which should convey just how bad these 3D models are! And so, I began my search as to why the 3D models in Yandere Simulator were so bad. I just had to find out more, because it seemed like the 3D models were intentionally low quality. After all, we know that no developers would ever disregard the quality of their games. However, in the middle of my search, I uncovered something much more interesting. The infamous Toothbrush from Yandere Simulator, with thousands of faces. One of the worst model significance to overall face count ratios in gaming history. Dubbed as the Yandere Simulator Toothbrush, it caused countless players to crash, and it essentially ruined the performance of the game. And it was just a background mesh, something completely insignificant that could have probably passed with like 10 faces. I never downloaded the game myself, but I was still able to find the following footage of the fabled Toothbrush. Markiplier. Oh my god, there it is!
So, what makes the Toothbrush so significant? Aren't all the models in the game low quality?
Well, yeah, but what makes the Toothbrush unique is not only its ridiculous face count, but how many faces it has in relation to its significance. What commonly tracks in video games is that the more significant and like front and center a 3D model is, the more detail it should have, which seems fairly obvious. So not only is this Toothbrush a background mesh that is almost never on screen, barely visible, and never in a close-up shot, but it also has one of the highest face counts of any mesh in the game. So what have we learned so far? First off, that a toothbrush is capable of not only painting over drywall, but also directly interfering with the value of the video game industry. Even after all I've learned so far, I knew I had only experienced a fraction of the power of this toothbrush, and I wanted more. I had to go a step further. I had to remake the toothbrush for myself. So I opened up Blender and got to work. Making the basic frame of the toothbrush was pretty easy because honestly all I had to do was just copy an image of the toothbrush. It's a pretty basic model and yeah, that took like 3 minutes maybe. But I was actually having some trouble like ruining the mesh and figuring out how I was gonna make it low quality. So to get a clear image of what bad quality looks like, I pulled up every rap song to ever exist. And after looking at them for just a few seconds, I knew exactly what horrible things looked like, and I was easily able to add some bad quality to the toothbrush. And now lastly, we just had to recreate these bristles. They just, oh god, they look horrendous in the real thing. That's gotta be like at least 10,000 faces worth of models right there. I thought about just copying and pasting the same little bristle a million times, but that would have taken forever and honestly I don't think it would have looked that good. So I turned to something special. Yeah. Particle systems are typically used when you have to distribute one mesh over a large area thousands of times. So we're gonna take that tool and put it all on the end of a toothbrush. Okay, yeah, this looks horrible. In a good way, though. In a good way. I had to mess with the position of them for a little bit because you have to mess with location and origin and random rotation and all that stupid stuff. And after I finished, it was looking super bad. Good. Can I say good if I was trying to make it bad? After I was finished, it was looking exactly like how I wanted it to. After putting it in the group chat, it was clear that everyone knew just how powerful I was for recreating this. This took me 2 weeks to make.